Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Our patient today is 2009 Legacy, which has no throttle control, meaning the car starts, it idles, but you press the gas pedal and nothing happens. What's wrong with it? Actually, the issue is relatively simple and it happens sometimes. And this is the first one I'm actually repairing, but I've had few customers reach out to me for advice what to do in that case. And what to do in that case is to replace the throttle driver. The throttle driver is IC705, and that's going to be the same number on other ECMs, and most likely it's going to be this chip. Meaning it's most likely not going to be a SOT chip, it's going to be this QFN chip. It might, I haven't seen any other one actually, as the injector drivers can be either using IC608 or IC651, and one is QFN, the other one is SOT. I have only seen these chips driving the throttle motor. Now, is this 100%? Let me put it this way: if the replacement of the chip doesn't work, didn't help, then the output of the MCU is faulty. In which case, there's nothing we can do, only the replacement of the ECM. Technically, you could replace MCU and reprogram, technically, but I don't think that's worth it. Take a look at this chip. That's a lot of work to replace this chip. A lot of work, and a lot of stuff can go wrong. But basically, the way it works, it just you have outputs on the MCU. Those outputs go to the output stage, which is this chip, and in turn from there, it goes to the actual outputs of the ECM, and that's what generates the signal. 500 hertz. Was it 500 hertz or even 500 kilohertz? I think it was 500 hertz. And width modulation, pulse width modulation signal. So the duty cycle changes depending on the position of the gas pedal, right? So the procedure is simple. We just need to take the chip off. This is much like the IC608 replacement, but this chip is a lot bigger. You see, the pads are a lot bigger, so it's a lot easier to work with. In my opinion, compared to the IC608, it's much thicker chip too, and it costs about 30 bucks. This is the replacement though, because the original chip, as you can see, PFK, right? And the original chip is PNB. But the original chip is deprecated, it's obsolete. So it's no longer being produced. This one is being produced, and it's a replacement. You can also, so if you order this repair in my shop, you can choose whether you want the new replacement chip or original refurbished chip. Original refurbished meaning it just came from another ECM. It was desoldered from another ECM, cleaned and tested, and it works, right? But you're getting an old chip. Why does it happen? It's actually a very rare issue. So far, this is the third one that I've heard of, while the IC608 issue, I do, well, sometimes 1 a month, sometimes 5 a month. So it's much rarer, this issue, than the IC608. But it happens. And when it does happen, all you gotta do is just replace it. And that'll do. The only challenging part is that we have a capacitor right next to it. And that's pretty much it. So, because of that, let's actually arrange it this way. I'm not gonna be working on it this way. I'm gonna flip it and I'll show you why. But before we do, let's cover the cap with some Kapton tape. And that should be enough to protect the cap, but you still don't want to blow directly on the cap. You want to blow rather around it. The worst thing that can happen is the explosion of the cap. Yesterday I showed you how the electrolyte oozes from the capacitor when you puncture it and heat it up. And I was heating up that capacitor with 220 degrees Celsius, so that's not even enough to melt the solder. I was just preheating it. So yeah, the explosion can be relatively big. It could get pretty scary. So definitely, either way, if you do this, if you're doing this job, definitely wear some eye protection just in case. And actually, I would even suggest wearing a full face shield, because once this explodes, it just sprays hot electrolyte everywhere. And electrolyte, even if it's cold, even if it's not heated up, when you touch it with your fingers, it burns a little. So this is not something that you want on your skin. I don't know if that's an acid or alkaline or what, but it gives some burning sensation when you touch it. So whenever I touch it, I just wash my hands very well, because it bothers me, right? Maybe it's just psychological. Maybe it doesn't actually react with your skin, and I just convinced myself that it's not good. Maybe, could be, but either way, you don't want to find out. Why would you? Alrighty, tweezers, and first let's take the old chip out. is how it's done. The throttle control should now be restored. And normally I would put obviously the mask on it, right? The UV cured mask. But this one comes with completely no conformal coating. I'm not sure why, but I'll just leave it like that. You can tell that it has been removed. So I bet someone was doing a lot of diagnosis on this. But it's as simple as replacing this chip. However, if your throttle control is not restored after this, well, there's no other way. Either replacing this, which is a pain, and reprogramming the ECM, which will probably bring you somewhere around the cost of new ECM, right? Or for this one, definitely don't get the new one. This is the 4-cylinder version, which has two ignition signals, and this is 4-cylinder. Sorry, this is 4-cylinder version. So those ECMs are not expensive. But if you get the replacement, you do need to program it, and that could be a costly endeavor. It starts roughly at around $350–400, and the ECM itself probably around $50, maybe $100. That stops. It's still better than new ECM, because that's gonna cost you closer to $800–900. Well, anyways, we'll send this one back and we'll see if that resolves the problem. I would expect it does, because it's very unusual for the MCU to be damaged, the output port of the MCU to be damaged. That could only appear if there was a big surge. The voltage rised above the nominal levels of these chips, but this particular chip, actually, this one, can withstand, I don't remember, but I think 120 volts. So it's hard to damage it with a voltage. However, the current, yeah, if you do the short on the other side, yeah, this could happen. So I assume there was some extensive repair on this car, perhaps engine swap, maybe, yeah, something, maybe timing chain replacement, or something that kind of requires you to remove the engine from the car, which means you need to disconnect every single thing. Obviously you remove the battery from the car as the first thing, so I don't expect anything over there. And if we consider that the capacitors might still hold some charge, and the short still gives you a big power dissipation, no, that's very unlikely. There's not enough energy that these capacitors can store. Even if you sum them all up, it's very unlikely. So yeah, we don't know, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know if this helped. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.